On the record in the matter of the people of the state of Michigan versus Angel Holcomb, 23-03428, and I have 24-03283 SM. Council appearance, please.
Ed Blackman on behalf of Ms. Holcomb.
Your Angel Holcomb?
Yes, I am.
Okay, Ms. Holcomb, I have two files for you. First, taking the felony file 23-03428. I have a felony complaint here that alleges that on or about August 5th, 2023 through August 12th, 2023 at the area of 209 South Hosmer, City of Lansing, Ingham County, State of Michigan, that you did allegedly contrary to law commit the act in count 1 on or about date of offense August 12th of home invasion in the second degree. The allegations are that you did break and enter or did enter without permission a dwelling located at 209 South Hosmer, City of Lansing, Ingham County, State of Michigan. And while entering, present in, or exiting the dwelling did commit a larceny contrary to the Michigan compiled law 750.11083. Count 1 is a felony and the maximum penalty is 15 years in prison and or $3,000 in fines. There's a count 2 with an alleged date of offense of August 12, 2023, alleging that you committed a larceny, $1,000 or more, but less than $20,000. The allegations are that you did commit the offense of larceny by stealing various shoes and purses that belonged to an Adina Carl. The value of the stolen property was $1,000 or more, but less than $20,000, and that this is contrary to Michigan compiled law 750.3563A. That's a felony. The maximum penalty in count 2 is 5 years in prison and or $10,000 in fines or 3 times the value or property stolen, whichever is greater. To impose a fine of 3 times the value, the defendant must admit the amount or it must be determined by a trier of fact. Count 3 has a date of offense of allegedly August 5th, 2023. The allegations are that you did engage in squatting or did occupy a building that was a single family dwelling and did so without the owner's consent for an agreed upon consideration. And that this is contrary to Michigan compiled law 750.5531A. That's a misdemeanor and the maximum penalty is 180 days in jail and or a fine of $5,000. There is, however, an habitual offender fourth offense notice. It says, take notice that the defendant was previously convicted of 3 or more felonies or attempts to commit felonies in that on or about May 21st, 2007, she was convicted of the offense of financial transaction device stealing or retaining without consent in violation of Michigan compiled law 750.157NI in the 56th Circuit Court for Eaton County, State of Michigan. And that on or about February 21st, 2007, she was convicted of the offense of larceny in a building in violation of MCL 750.360 in the 30th Circuit Court for Ingham County, State of Michigan. And that on or about February 2nd, 2015, she was convicted of the offense of controlled substance possession of methamphetamine in violation of MCL 333.74032BI in the 29th Circuit for Clinton County, State of Michigan. And that on or about November 4th, 2015, she was convicted of the offense of controlled substance delivery, manufacture of methamphetamine in violation of MCL 333.74012BI in the 30th Circuit Court for Ingham County, State of Michigan, and therefore the defendant is subject to the penalties provided by MCL 769.12. That enhances the maximum penalty to life if the primary offense has a penalty of 5 years or more, 15 years or less if the primary offense has a penalty of 5 years or under 5 years. The maximum penalty cannot be less than the maximum term of the first conviction. Now taking file number 24-03283, I have a misdemeanor complaint that alleges that on or about October 29, 2024, that you did in count one allegedly commit the act of attempted police officer assault, resisting, obstructing at the area of 1400 Norwood Avenue, Lansing, Michigan, 48906. The allegations are that you did attempt to commit the following listed offense, and in the attempt did act towards the commission of the offense, but failed in the perpetuation or was prevented in the execution thereof, contrary to MCL 750.92. That's police officer assaulting, resisting, obstructing. The allegations are that you did assault, batter, wound, resist, obstruct, oppose, or endanger Peter Howard, an officer or police officer of the Lansing Police Department that the defendant knew or had reason to know was performing his duties, contrary to MCL 750.81 D1. Count one is a misdemeanor, and the maximum penalty is 1 year in jail and or $1,000 in fines. Upon conviction of attempted felony, the court shall order law enforcement to collect DNA identification profiling samples. Do you understand the charges read in both files and the maximum penalty attached in each file?
Yes. Yes, Your Honor.
Oh, thank you. You have the right to be represented by counsel. Mr. Blackman is privately retained counsel. He's here with you for the purposes of your arraignment. You have the right to remain silent. Anything that you say and anything you put in writing can be used against you. You have the right to plead guilty, plead not guilty, or stand mute. If you stand mute in each of these files, they will continue all the way through to a jury trial. You have the right in the felony file to have a preliminary examination. You have the right to have that examination within 21 days of today's date being the date that you're being arraigned, unless you waive that timeline or the court finds good cause to go beyond the 21-day timeline. At the time of your preliminary examination, you have the right to require the prosecution put forth evidence to establish that they have sufficient probable cause that a crime was committed and probable cause to charge you with those felonies. If these matters proceed beyond that, you have the right to continue to trial. And in both files, you have the right to a jury trial. You enjoy the presumption of innocence, so that means you're innocent until proven guilty. You have the right to require the prosecution prove your guilt at trial by proving each element of the charges being brought against you beyond a reasonable doubt. You can remain silent at your trial, not have silence be used against you, or you can waive silence and testify. You have the right to subpoena witnesses to testify at your trial or present evidence that you believe show defenses to these charges. And you have the right to be considered for pretrial release from custody. Do you understand each of those rights, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Blackman, she's pleading not guilty in both files,
He is, Your Honor.
and she's waiving court-appointed counsel, correct?
Correct.
Ms. Holcomb, are you employed?
Yeah, I'm self-employed. I do landscaping, but I'm like my arm, I had that surgery again. I'm in physical therapy. My arm won't open, so I'm off work at the moment.
What's your home address?
1117 North High Street, Lansing, Michigan, 48906.
What's your phone number?
517-974-0435.
Are you currently on probation or on parole?
Oh, ma'am.
Do you have any other criminal matters pending at this time?
No, ma'am.
Okay, and file number 23-03428, you have a probable cause conference scheduled before Judge Cynthia Ward, November 8th at 9 o'clock in the morning. You have a preliminary examination before Judge Ward, November 15th at 9:30 in the morning. In the misdemeanor file, you have a pretrial before Judge Ward on November 19th at 10 o'clock in the morning. Did you get notices to appear for those dates?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, you can address bond.
Judge, date of offense was back in November of 23. She came in after that. right around the first of the year, retained me. At that point, we sent her, because there is a substance abuse problem here, we sent her to wellness. Wellness did an assessment on her, recommended inpatient. As a result of that, she went to Sacred Heart on an inpatient basis for a period of time, and then they did a aftercare program for her, which included everything from AA to a sponsor to get involved in outpatient, which she has started to do, and she has put together a pre-inpatient list on trying to lick this problem. She started with her virtual AA. What happened after that, Your Honor, is that she was severely injured, and she's talked about her right wrist. Almost her right forearm was almost split in two. She went surgery, and whoever did the surgery, or the surgeon that did it, didn't do a very good job. As a result of that, her elbow, she's got a lateral and oblique area that's really, really bad, a right humerus problem, a right forearm problem. She's undergoing physical therapy now, and we were in the process of, and my parents and my house were in the process of bringing her in, and she did get picked up, and there's no excuse for us not bringing her in, but with her residing in jail, it would be very difficult based upon the pain she's in and what she's going through. I'm asking the court to take that into consideration when setting bond on her. She's a lifelong resident of this area. And as judge, and for the record, as an officer of the court, I would also indicate we have to take care of a matter up in the Upper Peninsula too, so we have to do that after this. Thank you.
I'm sorry, you have to do what after this?
We have to take care of a matter, another matter up in the Upper Peninsula.
What do you mean you have to take care of another matter in Upper Peninsula?
Up there, there's another criminal charge up in
Exactly. I was going to ask about it because I asked her, did she have another criminal matter
No.
pending? She told me no. And I have a criminal history that says that she has a matter pending in the 11th Circuit Court. So that
Right.
means she's on bond, which means she would not be eligible for a personal recognizance bond.
I understand that, Judge. And that's why, as an officer of court, I told you that I represent her up there. And I wanted the court to know that.
Thank you. Ma'am, did you not realize that you had another matter pending?
Yeah, I missed it. Didn't hear your question correctly. I apologize, Your Honor.
Okay, sounds good.
I
So
know
you do have
that's what he's hired for.
Yeah, it says you have a case that's bound over to the circuit court at the 11th Circuit Court, which according to your attorney is the Upper Peninsula. Nonetheless,
Yes.
personal recognizance bond will not, excuse me?
So he was handling both of my cases, Your Honor.
Okay, sounds good. Again, personal recognizance bond will not be appropriate because you are currently out on bond, but I will set a low cash surety or 10% bond, that is. I'll set a low 10% bond so that she can likely post that and take care of her other matters. A bond in the felony file will be set at 2,500, 10%. And the bond in 24-03283 will be set at 1,000, 10%. While out on bond, you have the following conditions. In the felony file, you need to report to pretrial services within 48 hours of your release, and you'll get the information from jail as to how you make that report. You're not to engage in any assaultive or threatening behavior. You're not to use, purchase, or possess drugs or alcohol without a valid prescription. You're not to travel outside the state without prior approval of the court. You're not to possess a firearm or any other dangerous weapon. You're not to be at the address located of 209 South Hosmer, nor are you to have contact directly or indirectly with Adina Carl. You understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any other bond conditions in the misdemeanor file are consistent, not to have drugs or alcohol, no weapons, and no travel outside the state, unless you get approval from the court to do so. Do you have any questions about your bond conditions?
No, Your Honor.
Any additional matters for the record, counsel?
No, Your Honor, thank you very much.
Thank you. You're all set, Ms. Holcomb.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, on the record in the matter or matters is the people of the state of Michigan versus Nicholas Eaton.
Hello.
How are you, Mr. Eaton?
Could have been better.
Okay, I have file numbers 24-03279 FY 224109311, 224109311, 24L2861142, 24L2861141, TG 24013355, T00235624, TD 230090059. TG 240129999, TG 2401326, TG 240133001, TT 2301911, TT 230230059, TU T323207797 and 2. I'm sorry, T01500352. All mostly collection files. And I have a felony file here. Can I have your appearance on the felony file, counsel?
Thank you, Your Honor. Assistant Public Defender Joseph Hardy, appearing on behalf of Mr. Eaton.
Okay, Mr. Eaton, in the felony file, I have a felony complaint. The allegations in that complaint or that order about October 29, 2024, that you did allegedly commit the act in count 1 of controlled substance possession less than 25 grams, and that at the area of 3220 Sheffer Lansing, Michigan, that you did knowingly or intentionally possess less than 25 grams of a mixture containing the controlled substance cocaine, contrary to MCL 333.74032AB. That's a felony. Maximum penalty is 4 years in prison and or $25,000 in fines. There's count 2, domestic violence, that alleges that on or about October 29th at the area of 3220 Sheffer Lansing, Michigan, that you did make an assault or assault and battery upon a Sarah Jean Holland, an individual with whom you had a dating relationship, and that this is contrary to MCL 750.812. Restitution may be ordered as this offense may have resulted in damage to another individual's property or physical injury or death to another individual. And that's a misdemeanor, maximum penalty 93 days in jail and under $500 in fines. A consecutive sentence may be imposed under the law if the assault was committed in a place of confinement. You understand the charges right there, the maximum penalty?
Yes.
Okay, in that file, you have the right to be represented by counsel. Mr. Hardy from the Office of the Public Defender will represent you today for the purposes of your arraignment, but you do have the right to have an attorney represent you at each criminal appearance, and you have the right to be represented by counsel if you're questioned by law enforcement. If you cannot afford to hire an attorney, you can make a request to have the Public Defender's Office represent you at the expense of the public. You understand your rights, counsel?
Yes, ma'am.
Is he requesting court-appointed counsel?
He is, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Eaton, you have the right to remain silent. Anything that you say, anything you put in writing can be used against you. You can plead guilty, plead not guilty, or stand mute. If you stand mute, this matter will continue all the way to your jury trial. You have the right to have a preliminary examination in this matter. You have the right to have that exam within 21 days of today's date, unless you waive the timeline or unless the court finds good cause to go beyond the 21 days. At the time of your exam, you have the right to require that the prosecution establish that they have sufficient probable cause that a felony was committed and probable cause sufficient to charge you with the felony. You understand that?
Yes.
You understand that? Okay. You have the right to proceed to trial, and you can have a jury trial. You have the right to the presumption of innocence. You're innocent until proven guilty, and you can require the prosecution prove your guilt by proceeding to jury trial and requiring that they prove each element of the charge being brought against you beyond a reasonable doubt. You can maintain your silence at your trial and not have the silence be used against you, or you can waive silence and testify at trial if you like. You can subpoena witnesses that will testify on your behalf. You have the right to put forth evidence at your trial to show a defense to any of these charges. You have any questions about those rights?
No.
You're currently scheduled for probable cause conference before Judge Stacia Buchanan, November 7th, 2024 at 10 o'clock in the morning. You have a preliminary examination before Judge Buchanan on November 14th at 9 o'clock in the morning. Did you get your notice to appear for those?
Yes, ma'am.
You must appear in person for the preliminary examination. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
For the purposes of his arraignment, is he pleading not guilty?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you currently employed, sir?
No, ma'am.
How do you support yourself?
Government benefits and the kindness of strangers.
Government benefits, what are you getting? Social Security, sir?
I get EBT, and I have been working with the county to get more benefits.
What's your address?
1424 Congress Street.
In Lansing?
Yes, ma'am. 48906.
What's your phone number?
517-896-4560.
Are you currently on probation?
No, ma'am.
Are you on parole before any courts?
Nope.
Do you have any other court dates?
Yes, I have. I was served by 12 and a 25th for prior offenses, traffic.
Okay, do you have any matters in any other courts?
I don't think so.
Okay, I do see that you have a warrant for failure to appear back in 2022 for a fail to transfer license plate. That matter is what you're talking about, that's set for pre-trial on November 25th.
Mhm. Yes.
I mean, that's before Judge Buchanan. And then I see another matter scheduled for November 12th for improper plate. For failure to appear back on June 17th. And that will be before Judge Buchanan as well, I believe.
Okay.
Okay, and why are you not employed? Explain that to me.
I suffer from bipolar disorder that has had a really pretty terrible flare up over the last 3 or 4 months. Pretty debilitating.
Okay, because you got a whole lot of improper parking and expired meter tickets. So that lets me know that you are driving allegedly and that you got some money to pay for gas. So you must be getting some money from somewhere.
If you look, most of those tickets are out in front of my home. I haven't been driving, but yeah, like I said, kindness of strangers sometimes to get me
Okay, well,
gas.
you got a You have a registration plate expired ticket that you failed to appear in court back in October 3rd, 2022. It was a default judgment. You owe $186. You have a no proof of insurance that you failed to appear in court back on June 17, 2024. And so a default judgment was entered. You owe $270. You have a
Okay.
pending improper plate ticket. I don't know why that just says pending. I don't know what that means. You have a expired meter ticket that you owe $90 on, and it looks like this ticket's from 2018. You have a improper parking ticket that you owe $102. That was from looks like January 4th, 2023. You owe $95 for improper parking. Date of offense, July 31st, 2024. Improper parking from August 20th, 2024. $95 is owed on that. Improper parking, $95. August 26th, 2024 is the date of offense. There is a May 11, 2023 ticket for expired meter. You owe $102. You owe $102 on another ticket, and this is for expired meter from October 6, 2023. There's another expired meter. $102 is owed, and that is from November 15th, 2023. And then you have another parking meter that you owe $108 on. That's from February 5th, 2023. So you're gonna have to figure out how you're gonna pay these while your attorney addresses some other issues on the record for you, because you owe a whole lot of money at this point. Let's see. What is criminal history? I don't see any prior criminal history. The alleged victim Sarah Jean Holland does not live at the address on Congress. Is that correct?
Yes.
Counsel, you can address bond.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Eaton, he's someone who's lived in Lansing his entire life. So he does have a deep connection to the community. And I would say that he's definitely someone that is not a flight risk. He's represented to me that outside of traffic parking issues, that he does not have a criminal record. And we recognize the seriousness of the violent allegation regarding the domestic violence, but I would just submit to this court that this is not indicative of a habit or routine of violent criminal thinking. I do not believe that he is a threat to society, nor that I believe that he is a flight risk. And I think that the safety of the community could be achieved through a PR bond with the proper conditions, Your Honor.
You owe $1,412 in tickets.
Okay. Okay.
When are you
Yes,
gonna make a
ma'am.
payment?
When? I get a paycheck of not that much, but on Friday.
How much you gonna pay on Friday?
You said I owe 1412.
$1,412.
I can probably fork over like 300 from this check.
You're gonna pay $300 this Friday?
Yes, ma'am. Maybe
When are you
November
gonna make your
1st.
next payment?
Probably 2 weeks after that. Is when I would suppose I'd get enough money. So the
Okay.
first
Note
and the
here that-
14th.
Okay, I'll note here that you're gonna make a payment of $300 by Friday of this week. You'll pay no less than $100 per month,
Okay.
the first of the month. Until paid in full.
Okay. Thank you.
You got your next court dates for the traffic matters that are pending. Bond in each of those files will be set at 100 personal recognizance.
Okay.
Bond
Thank
in
you.
the felony file will be set at 2,500 personal recognizance. While out on bond, you have the following conditions. You're not to have contact directly or indirectly with the alleged victim, Sarah Jean Holland. You're not to possess a firearm or any other dangerous weapon. You're not to travel outside the state without prior approval of the court. You're not to use, purchase, or possess drugs or alcohol without a valid prescription. You will be required to submit to regular urinalysis testing one time per week. You're not to engage in any assaultive or threatening behavior. You need to report to all of your court dates. Do you have any questions about your bond conditions?
No. Thank you.
Any additional matters for the record, counsel?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, you're all set, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Sorry? One time, please. Okay, on the record in the matter of the people of the state of Michigan versus Anastasia, Lara, 24-03280. Your appearance, counsel.
Assistant Public Defender Joseph Hardy on behalf of Ms. Lara.
Your Anastasia Lara. Okay, today's the date set for an arraignment. I do have a misdemeanor complaint here that alleges that on or about October 29th at the area of 3123 Forest Road, City of Lansing, Ingham County, State of Michigan, that you did allegedly commit the act in count 1 of domestic violence. The allegations that you did make an assault or assault and battery upon a William Lee Green, an individual with whom you had a child in common and or individual with whom you had a dating relationship, and that this was contrary to Michigan Compiled Law 750.812. That's a misdemeanor. The maximum penalty is 93 days in jail and or $500 of fines, and a consecutive sentence may be imposed under the law if the assault was committed in a place of confinement. You understand the charges or the charge and the maximum penalty, ma'am?
Yes, I understand.
You have the right to be represented by an attorney. Mr. Hardy from the Public Defender's Office is representing you today for your arraignment only. You do have the right to have an attorney represent you at all of your future court dates. And you have the right to be represented by counsel if you're questioned by law enforcement. If you cannot afford to hire an attorney, you can make a request to have the Public Defender's Office represent you at the expense of the public. You understand your right to counsel, ma'am?
Yes.
Is she requesting court-appointed counsel?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Okay, Ms. Lara, you have the right to remain silent because anything you say and anything that you put in writing can be used against you. You have the right to plead guilty. You can plead not guilty or you can stand mute. If you stand mute, the matter will continue all the way to a jury trial. You have the right to the jury trial and you have the right to the presumption of innocence. So you're innocent until proven guilty and you have the right to require the prosecution prove your guilt at trial by proving each element of the charge being brought against you beyond a reasonable doubt. You can remain silent at trial and not have that silence be used against you. You have the right to see, hear, and question in court any of the witnesses that the prosecutor intends to call or testify against you. You can have witnesses subpoenaed to testify for you at your trial, or you can waive your silence and testify on your own behalf at your trial if you'd like. Do you understand those rights?
Yes, I do.
Okay, for the purposes of her arraignment, is she pleading not guilty?
Yes, Your Honor.
Sarah, what's your home address?
5220 Wise Road, Lansing, Michigan, 48911.
Are you employed?
Yes,
Where?
Amazon.
What's your phone number?
517-252-0470.
Currently scheduled for a pretrial conference before Judge Cynthia Ward, November 12th at 10:30 in the morning. Did you get a notice to appear for that date?
Yes,
Okay, and you can't appear before Judge Ward for that in person or via Zoom, okay? Are you on probation or on parole?
no, ma'am.
Have you missed court in the past?
No,
Do you have any other criminal matters pending?
no, ma'am.
Counsel, you can address bond.
Thank you, Your Honor. So Ms. Lara is someone who has represented to me that she does not possess a criminal record or any history of failing to appear. In fact, she's right now she's working full time for Amazon is what she represented. So she does have deep ties to the community. I believe that she would not be a flight risk, and her history shows that she does not have a routine of violent criminal thinking. So, while we do acknowledge the seriousness of the assault of allegations, we believe that a PR bond with appropriate conditions would be enough to ensure the safety of society, Your Honor. Thank you.
Bond is set in the amount of 500 personal recognizance with a no contact order in place for the protection of William Green. You're not to be in contact directly or indirectly with William Green. You're not to be at where William Green lives, works, or goes to school. Do you have any questions about that?
Yes. So we have
What's your
children who play sports. So would I not be able to
So
visit
you
a
have
game
children
that
that what?
they play sports on Sundays? Would I not be able to attend those games?
You have your children, you say you have children that play sports and he's going to be there. You're saying that you want to be where he is for the purposes of the sports. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, just to support my children. But if I have to stay away, then I will.
I'll allow you to have peaceful contact, meaning you can be at the sports things for the purposes of supporting your children, but you still cannot have contact directly or indirectly with Mr. Green. So that would mean if you're at the sports event and you are having communication that's getting back to him, meaning you're sending messages to him or saying things for him to hear, you're not to have communication at all with him, okay?
Yes, I understand.
You understand that? And that's during the pendency of this matter until further amended by the court. Also, while out on bond, you're not to engage in any assaultive or threatening behavior. You're not to purchase or possess a firearm, weapon, or ammunition of any kind. You're not to use or possess alcohol or drugs. And you must report to all of your court dates, and you cannot leave the state unless you get prior approval of the court. You understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any questions, ma'am?
No, ma'am.
Any additional matters for the record, counsel?
No, Your Honor.
You're all set, Ms. Lara.
Thank you.
You're welcome. On the record in the matter of the people of the state of Michigan versus Marissa Hagen, 24-01555 SM. Council appearance.
Your Honor,
Assistant-
may I interrupt, please? Ms. Hagen is not in the room. We need to do her last by polycount.
Okay, no problem. On the record in the matter of the people of the state of Michigan versus Wesley Miller, 24-03018. Council appearance.
Assistant Public Defender Joseph Hardy on behalf of Mr. Miller.
Wesley Miller.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Mr. Miller, I have a misdemeanor complaint here. The allegations here that are about July 2nd, 2024, that you did allegedly commit the act at 4722 North Grand River, City of Lansing, Ingham County, State of Michigan, of assault or assault and battery, and that you did make an assault or assault and battery upon a Wu Price Jr., contrary to MCL 750.811. That's a misdemeanor with a maximum penalty of 93 days in jail and $500 in fine, and a consecutive sentence may be imposed under the law if the assault was committed in a place of confinement. You understand the charge of the maximum penalty, sir?
Yes, Judge.
Okay, you have the right to be represented by an attorney, and the public defender's office is representing you today for your arraignment only, but you do have the right to have an attorney represent you at all of your court appearances, and you have the right to have an attorney represent you if you're questioned by law enforcement. If you can't afford to hire an attorney, you can make a request to have the public defender's office represent you during the pendency of this matter. You understand your right to counsel?
Yes, Judge.
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say and anything you put in writing can be used against you. You have the right to plead guilty, plead not guilty, or stand mute. If you stand mute, the matter will continue to a jury trial. And you have the right to jury trial. You have the right to the presumption of innocence, so you're innocent until proven guilty, and you can require the prosecution prove your guilt at jury trial by proving each element of the charges being brought against you beyond a reasonable doubt. You have the right to be silent at trial, and they can't use the silence against you. You have the right to waive the silence and testify at your trial if you like, or subpoena witnesses to testify on your behalf, or present evidence at trial that you think show a defense to the charges being brought against you. You have the right to see, hear, or question any of the witnesses that they call and at the time of your trial. Do you have any questions about those rights?
No questions at all.
Is he requesting court-appointed counsel?
Actually, he will be using the public defender services just for purposes of arraignment, but he's signaled to me his intent to hire a private attorney, Your Honor.
You're going to retain counsel, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And for the purposes of your arraignment, the court will enter a plea of not guilty on your behalf. Are you employed?
I'm a government contractor as well as I do Uber and Lyft.
What's your home address?
1130 South Canal Street, Unit 1952, Chicago, Illinois, 60607.
All right, your phone number?
312-520-2179.
Are you on probation or on parole?
No, I am not.
Do you have any other criminal matters pending?
No, I do not.
We're currently scheduled for pretrial conference before Judge Cynthia Ward, November 12th at 10:30. You can appear in person or you can appear via Zoom for that, okay?
Okay.
My records reflect you have 2 matters that are pending in the circuit court.
I wasn't aware of those. Is it for child support?
No, one just shows me, doesn't show me a disposition. It just says that there was a domestic violence bound over to the 30th
That-
Circuit Court. Attempted felony home invasion, 3rd degree, aggravated stalking, and a domestic violence. And then it also says that there was a felony weapons carrying concealed that was bound over.
Excuse me, Your Honor, that must be the incorrect person. That cannot be me because I've never, I've those, that has to be a different person. It must be a different person. I've never been accused of any of those.
You're absolutely right. Someone put the wrong criminal history in here. This is not his criminal history. I don't think I have his criminal history.
I have a false pretense out of Calhoun County back in 2018. That's about it. Misdemeanor.
Okay, hey, yeah, give me just a moment. They put the wrong criminal history. You're right, that was not yours. They have to print the correct one. Okay, you can have a seat. When they print it, we'll call you back up. On the record, in the matter of people of the state of Michigan versus Kelly Tufnell, 24-03281. Appearance, please.
Assistant Public Defender Joseph Hardy on behalf of Ms. Tufnell.
Okay, Ms. Tufnell, I do have a misdemeanor complaint here. It alleges that on or about October 29, 2024, at the area of 1400 Norwood Ave, City of Lansing, Ingham County, State of Michigan, that you allegedly committed the act of assault or assault and battery, and that you did make an assault or assault and battery upon a Joyce Ann Tufnell, contrary to MCL 750.75081. That's a misdemeanor. The maximum penalty is 93 days in jail and or $500 in fines, and a consecutive sentence may be imposed under MCL 750.506A if the assault was committed in a place of confinement. You understand the charge and the maximum penalty?
Sure.
Okay. You have the right to be represented by an attorney. Mr. Hardy is representing you today for your arraignment only, but you do have the right to have an attorney represent you at all of your court appearances, and you have the right to have an attorney represent you if you're questioned by law enforcement. If you can't afford to hire an attorney, you can make a request to have the public defender's office appointed to represent you at no expense to you. Do you understand that?
Yes, I do. Thank you.
You're welcome. You have the right to remain silent. Anything that you say, anything you put in writing can be used against you. You can plead guilty, plead not guilty, or stand mute. If you stand mute, the matter will continue to trial. You have the right to a jury trial, and you enjoy the presumption of innocence. So that means, ma'am, that you're innocent until proven guilty, and you can require the prosecutor prove your guilt by going to trial and making them prove each element of the charge of assault and battery beyond a reasonable doubt. You can remain silent at your trial and not have silence be used against you, or you can waive your right to silence and testify at your trial. You can subpoena witnesses that will testify on your behalf. You can submit evidence at trial that show a defense to this charge. And then you also can have the right to see, hear, or question any other witnesses that they call to testify against you. You understand those rights?
Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Hardy, is she requesting an attorney?
Yes, Your Honor.
The court will enter a plea of not guilty on her behalf. Ms. Tufnell scheduled for pre-trial conference Tuesday, November 19th at 9:30 in the morning. You can appear in person or via Zoom. Did you get a notice to appear for that date, ma'am?
Yes, I did. I can appear in
What's your
court.
home address? Very good. What's your home address?
1400 Norwood Avenue, Lansing, Michigan, 48906.
Is that the address of Joyce Ann Tufnell?
Yes, but they're not living there right now. They moved out.
How do you know they moved out?
My son went over there and they haven't been there since the incident happened. Supposedly happened.
What's wrong with mine? It's not letting me print it. I'm gonna go find out from someone. Access to it.
What's your phone number?
906-202-3685.
Are you employed?
Yes, I am.
Where?
Ellis Brothers Construction, a cleaning company.
Are you on probation or on parole? Ma'am, are you on probation or on parole?
No, no, ma'am.
Do you have any other court dates pending?
No.
Have you missed court in the past?
No, Your Honor.
You can address bond counsel.
Thank you, Your Honor. So, Ms. Tufano, as you previously stated, is someone that lacks a criminal history. She's, as far as failure to appear, she's someone that does not have a habit, a routine of missing court. She's fully employed in the area as well. So I would say that she's not a flight risk. She has a job to return to, one that's keeping her here. She's also lived in Lansing her entire life. And while we do acknowledge the seriousness of the assaultive allegations, I would say that just from assessing her criminal history or lack thereof, and the same for her lack of failing to appears, I think that a PR bond would be appropriate with the proper conditions, Your Honor.
Bond is set in the amount of 500 personal recognizance. While out on bond, you're not to have contact directly or indirectly with Joyce Tufnell. Do you understand that?
No,
You said no?
I said yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay, very good. You're not to be within 2,000 feet of wherever she is. You're not to be wherever she lives, works, or goes to school. You're not to engage in any assaultive or threatening behavior. You're not to use, purchase, or possess alcohol or drugs without a prescription. You're not to travel outside the state without prior approval of the court. And you need to come to all of your court dates. You understand that?
Yes, I do.
Do you have any questions about your bond conditions, ma'am?
No, I don't.
Any additional matters for the record, counsel?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, you're all set. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Back on the record in the matter of Wesley Miller. Okay, counsel, you can address bond.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Miller, as he previously stated, only as far as criminal history, does not have anything violent or assaultive in it, simply the false pretenses charge, which he divulged earlier. He's someone that does not have a history of failing to appear. Also, his family lives here, particularly his son. And so I would just say that he's someone that's not a flight risk, someone that has not shown himself to be a danger to society in spite of the allegations. So with that, I believe that the PR bond with the proper conditions would assure the safety of society, Your Honor.
Did you turn yourself in on this warrant?
No, I didn't. I was picked up in Plymouth, Michigan during a traffic stop.
When did you move to Chicago?
Back in May of this year. But I reside part-time in Ann Arbor, as well as I'm from Battle Creek. So my parents still live in Battle Creek, and all of my family. I'm there pretty often.
Bond is set in the amount of $500 cash surety. While out on bond, you have the following conditions. You need to report to all of your court dates. And I provided you your next court date, which is before Judge Ward on November 12th at 10:30. You're not to engage in any assaultive or threatening behavior. You're not to use, purchase, or possess alcohol or drugs without a valid prescription. Not to possess a firearm or any other weapon. Not to have contact directly or indirectly with the alleged victim in this matter, Alul Price Jr. Not to be within 1,500 feet of wherever Alul Price is, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any questions about that?
About,
About your bond conditions?
no.
Okay, any additional matters for the record, counsel?
No, Your Honor.
You're all set, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome. On the record in the matter of the people of the state of Michigan versus Candace Swain, 24-03282. Appearance, please.
Assistant Public Defender Joseph Hardy on behalf of Ms. Swain.
You're Candace Swain?
Yes.
Okay, Ms. Swain, I have a misdemeanor complaint here that alleges that on or about October 29th, 2024, that you did allegedly in count one commit the act of assault or assault and battery. That you did allegedly at the area of 1818 Hoyt Avenue, Lansing, Michigan, make an assault or assault and battery upon the following person, Adina Mae McLean, contrary to MCL 750.811. And that's a misdemeanor, maximum penalty 93 days in jail and or $500 in fines. Count two is an assault and battery alleging that you made an assault and battery at 1818 Hoyt Avenue upon Elisa Lene Swain, contrary to MCL 750.811. Again, a misdemeanor, maximum penalty 93 days in jail and or $500 in fines, and a consecutive sentence may be imposed under the law if the assault was committed in a place of confinement. Is it count three of a malicious destruction of a building less than 200 at the area of 1818 Hoyt Avenue, alleging that you did willfully and maliciously destroy or injure a building or its appurtenances located at 1818 Hoyt Avenue that belonged to Adina Mae McLean, and the amount of the destruction or injury was less than $200, contrary to MCL 750.3805. That's a misdemeanor. The maximum penalty is 93 days in jail and or $500 in fines, or 3 times the amount of the destruction or injury, whichever is greater. You understand the charges read in counts 1 through 3 and the maximum penalty in each of those?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, you have the right to be represented by an attorney, and Mr. Hardy is going to represent you today for your arraignment, but you have the right to have an attorney represent you at all of your court appearances, and an attorney can represent you if questioned by law enforcement. If you can't afford an attorney, you can make a request to have the public defender's office appointed to represent you. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say, anything you put in writing can be used against you. You have the right to plead guilty. You can plead not guilty, or you can stand mute, understanding that if you maintain mute, that the matter will proceed all the way to a jury trial. You have the right to jury trial. You have the right to be presumed innocent until proven guilty, and you can require the prosecution to prove your guilt at trial. They would need to prove each element of each of the charges being brought against you beyond a reasonable doubt. You have the right to confront in court and cross-examine any other witnesses that they call to testify against you. You have the right to remain silent at trial, and they can't use the silence against you, or you can waive your right to silence and testify at your trial if you like. You also have the right to have witnesses subpoenaed to testify on your behalf at trial and present evidence that you believe show a defense to these charges. You understand those rights?
Yes, Your Honor.
You're scheduled for a pretrial conference Monday, November 18th at 9:30 before Judge Michael Anthony Flores, okay?
Yes.
Did you get a notice to appear?
Yes.
Okay. Is she requesting court-appointed counsel?
Yes, Your Honor.
Court's gonna enter a plea of not guilty for you. Are you employed, ma'am?
Yes, Your Honor.
Here.
I work at Aldi Warehouse.
What's your home address? Ma'am,
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. What was that?
what's your home address?
Okay, it is 1817 Hoyt Avenue, Lansing,
so
Michigan.
Right next to the alleged victim?
Across the street, unfortunately.
What's your phone number?
517-488-5344.
You currently on probation?
No, Your Honor.
You're on parole?
No, Your Honor.
Do you have any other criminal matters that are pending?
No, Your Honor.
Have you missed court in the past?
No.
You can address bond counsel.
Thank you, Your Honor. So Ms. Swain is someone who is represented to me and to this court that she's someone that does not possess a criminal history, assaultive or otherwise. Is also the same for not having any bench warrants for failing to appear. She lived in Lansing off and on her entire life, in addition to being fully employed with Aldi. So I would say that she has deep ties to this community through her job and just the amount of time living here. And also nothing in her background suggests any type of violent criminality. So we'd be requesting a PR bond at this time. Thank you.
Typically, when we set bond in an allegation of an assaultive crime, there is a no contact order that will include you not being within a certain amount of feet of the victim or the alleged victims in this matter. Typically in my courtroom, I do 1,500 to 2,000 feet, which means you would not be able to go home. Do you understand that?
That's my only residence, unfortunately.
Exactly. But do you understand that that's typically how we handle things here? This is what my question was.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. In this particular case, the allegations are that the alleged victims are your sister and your mother.
Yes, Your Honor.
I am not going to impose the 2,000 to 1,500 feet restriction because that would displace you if I did, and you'd have to figure out where you're going to go. And I'm going to trust that someone as adult as you, that big adult age you have, who's employed, gainfully employed, has no other criminal history, would know how to conduct themselves around their mother and not make contact directly or indirectly during the pendency of this matter. That can obviously change if there's a violation. Because if there's a violation of the bond conditions, you could sit in jail pending the matter, and then that wouldn't be good for your employment, I'm sure.
No.
So at this time, I'm going to enter a no contact order. You're not to have any contact directly or indirectly with the alleged victims, Dina McLean and Lisa Swain. You can't talk to them, you can't communicate with them otherwise, and you can't cause anybody else to make communication to them on your behalf. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
If they're outside, you're inside. You get it?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Also, while out on bond, you are not to engage in any assaultive or threatening behavior. That is a very broad term, okay? So you don't want any of your actions to be perceived as assaultive or threatening. You understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
You're not to use, purchase, or possess a firearm, ammunition, or weapon of any kind. You're not to engage in any assaultive or threatening behavior. You're not to travel outside the state without prior approval. You're not to possess a firearm, any other dangerous weapon, and you need to report to court. You should have received your next court date with Zoom instructions. You can appear in person or via Zoom. You understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any additional matters for the record, counsel?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, you're all set, ma'am.
Thank you.
Your Honor, I missed that. What was the bond?
500 personal recognizance.
Am I their address, 1817?
I put,
Okay.
yeah. She's not to be, you actually put that she's not to be at their address. I just didn't put a fee, yeah. Okay, let's see here. On the record of the matter of the people of the state of Michigan versus Devonte Husak. It's file number 24-03284. Appearance, please.
Assistant Public
Yes, Your Honor.
Defender. Assistant Public Defender Joseph Hardy on behalf of Mr. Husak.
Remove your hood, please. Remove your hood.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay, today's the date that was set for arraignment, and I have a misdemeanor complaint that alleges that on or about October 30th, 2024, at the area of 500 East Saginaw, City of Lansing, Ingham County, State of Michigan, that you did allegedly, sir, commit the act in count 1 of malicious destruction of a building, $200 or more, but less than $1,000. The allegations are that you did willfully and maliciously destroy or injure a building or its appurtenances located at 500 East Saginaw Street that belonged to Quality Dairy, and that the amount of destruction or injury was $200 or more, but less than $1,000, and this is contrary to Michigan Compiled Law 750.3804A. That's a misdemeanor. The maximum penalty is 1 year and or $2,000, or 3 times the amount of destruction or injury, whichever is greater. You understand the charge and the maximum penalty?
Yes, Your Honor.
I had that one. Oh, she switched it.
Thank you. Okay. You have the right to be represented by counsel. Mr. Hardy is going to represent you today for your arraignment only, but you have the right to have an attorney represent you at all of your court appearances and if you're questioned by law enforcement. If you can't afford to hire an attorney, you can make a request to have the public defender's office represent you at the expense of the public. Do you understand that, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say, anything that you put in writing can be used against you. You can plead guilty. You can plead not guilty, or you can stand mute. If you stand mute, the matter will continue to trial. You have the right to jury trial, and you have the right to the presumption of innocence. So you're innocent until proven guilty, and you have the right to require the prosecution prove your guilt at trial by proving each element of the charge being brought against you beyond a reasonable doubt. You can remain silent at trial and not have the silence be used against you, or you can waive your silence and testify if you like. You have the right to see, hear, or question any witness that they call at trial. You can subpoena witnesses to testify for you at your trial and present evidence at trial that you believe show a defense to this charge. You understand that, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is you requesting an attorney?
Yes, Your Honor.
The court's entering a plea of not guilty on your behalf. Are you employed, sir?
No, ma'am. But I am
You're
on,
not
I am
employed?
on no, I am on probation.
You're on probation where, sir?
From Ingham and my judge is Judge Damo. They switched it over from Acalina.
Okay, sounds good. Okay. You're not employed, you say, where do you live?
3114 B Turner Street, Lansing, Michigan, 48906. Sheridan Road.
You have a phone?
Yes, 517-345-7070. But it's not on me right now, it's at home.
Okay. Do you have any other court cases that are pending?
No, ma'am.
What are you on probation for?
For domestic violence and aggravated stalking and a gun case that just, I got recently let out for back in August.
Okay, I see that on here. I also see though that you have another matter pending. You said you have a gun case and the aggravated stalking?
Yeah, but it shouldn't be nothing pending.
Okay, well, maybe they didn't put the disposition in there. It says bound over to the circuit court. I don't see any other
Yes,
disposition.
Yeah, I go to court, that's in my court, so it's still good.
Yeah, the next. Okay, counsel, you can address bond.
Thank you, Your Honor. We do acknowledge the previous convictions for domestic violence and aggravated stalking. While those things are assaultive, I do believe that the safety of the public could be preserved with the proper conditions, possibly a GPS tether. He's currently on probation out of JMO, and represented to me that he has not had any type of hiccups or missed reports or missed urine screens or anything like that. So, he does have responsibilities to attend to. He does do them. He's lived in Lansing for 4 years, and his kids do live with him. So he does have deep ties to this community. So with this, I would just be requesting a PR bond the court allows, or the alternative, a low 10% bond.
Okay, he's currently scheduled for pretrial conference before me, Judge Kristen Simmons, November 12th at 1:30. You can appear in person or via Zoom. Did you get your notice to appear for that, sir?
Yes.
Okay, he's out on bond, out on probation, which means a personal recognizance bond would not be appropriate. And we'll put a low 10% bond. Bond is set in the amount of 510%.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
So that means I got a PR bond?
Well, sir.
No, you do not have a PR bond because you are currently under court supervision and you allegedly picked up a new case. So personal recognizance bond would not be appropriate.
Okay, you say you.
500%.
50 bucks?
Yeah.
That's all I got to do when I get out?
Yeah, that's something that that's critical. The way I understand.
And he said GPS to the right.
If you,
Just like,
if you'd like to talk to him, I can let you off the record. You
No,
can go have a
it's not.
conversation with the officer.
No, ma'am.
Okay, yeah, so I set it at 510%, so you gotta pay $50 to get out.
Okay.
There's going to be a no contact order. Essentially, you're not to be at the area at or near 500 Saginaw. East Saginaw. You're not to engage in any assaultive or threatening behavior. You need to report to court on time. You're not to use any drugs or alcohol without a prescription, and you're not to possess a firearm or any other dangerous weapon, and you're not to travel outside the state without prior approval of the court. Do you have any questions about that, sir?
No, ma'am.
Okay, any additional matters for the record, counsel?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, you're all set, sir.
All right.
It's hot up here, Jesus. You get a big old bottle of water. Charlie Wakefield.
Stand right here.
It's right up to the table, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Charlie Wingfield.
Okay, I have City of Lansing versus Charlie Wingfield, 21-01647 and 21-01648 and 21L2645743. Council appearance.
Assistant Public Defender Joseph Hardy on behalf of Wingfield.
Okay, Mr. Wingfield, I have a citation here alleging that you received a citation back on or about June 15th, 2021 at 9:50 in the morning at the area of Malcolm X at or near Pine Street, City of Lansing, Ingham County, State of Michigan, and that you were cited for driving while license was not valid or proper, cited for no insurance under the insurance code, and for a plate or registration violation.
Yes, ma'am.
All three are misdemeanors, maximum penalty 90 days in jail and or $500 in fines on each of those. You understand that, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you were scheduled to be in the court for arraignment on July 23rd, 2021, and you did not appear.
Because they period of time, they had COVID going on, then they sent it in the mail, told me to come down here to the building. When I came down here, I had to come to the building was closed, and I had to use the red phone downstairs. They wouldn't even have in court at that period of time because the COVID virus pretty heavy thing.
We had court in 2021.
I know,
but
here. I came, ma'am, and I came with the letter, got a letter in the mail, but I came, but I couldn't get in, so I did not try to miss court. But prior to that, I got my license. I went and they gave me my license too. Prior to that, after this in.
Right, I get that, but sir, we were here. I was here particularly. Let me talk. I was here on the 23rd or 28th of July, and you were not here. And so that's why I signed a warrant. We didn't sign warrants when we were closed and not accessible to the public. What we did when we were closed during COVID, if people didn't show up, is we reset it due to COVID. By 2021, you cannot use that excuse anymore. You were able to come into the court. You were able to come into the court to handle your matter. And even if you believed or perceived that you were not able to come in 2021, it is now 2 days shy of November 2024.
Ma'am,
did you turn yourself in on this warrant, sir?
Oh, ma'am, I forgot and then forgot all about it. I had a ticket. I had been working. I got my apartment and everything, ma'am. I'm sorry. I didn't try to make you upset.
I'm not upset. I am not upset even in the least. I'm not going to sit here and let you tell a story that's not the truth. We did not refuse people from entering the court in July of 2021 and then issue bench warrants. We won't do that. So you've been in bench warrant status since July of 2021 on these matters. You have now been scheduled for pre-trials on each of these files before me, Judge Kristen Simmons. It's going to be November 18th on each of those at 10 a.m.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you get notice to appear on those?
Yes, ma'am. I got notes.
You can appear via Zoom or you can appear in person. Is he requesting court-appointed counsel?
Yes.
Okay, in each of these matters, so you have the right to the presumption of innocence, so that means you're innocent until proven guilty, and you can proceed to a jury trial on these. You have the right to require the city prove your guilt by proving each element of the charges that are being brought against you beyond a reasonable doubt. You can remain silent at your trial and not have silence be used against you. You can waive silence and testify for yourself if you like. You also can have witnesses subpoenaed to testify for you. And you have the right to see, hear, or question any other witnesses the city calls to testify against you. Do you understand those rights?
Yes, ma'am.
These are licensing misdemeanors. Again, no ops, driving unregistered, and no insurance. The typical way in which the city would handle these is at your pretrial, they're going to likely offer you an opportunity to show compliance with the motor vehicle code. That being showing that you have a valid license or registration or insurance, or that you are making substantial compliance with that before they would give you any offer. So I'm telling you that so that between now and the 18th, you can make yourself available to the Secretary of State if that's what you need to do to get that taken care of, okay?
I have my license now.
That's wonderful. So that you bring proof of that, that's how they give an offer, that they want to see that you're making compliance, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and so if you might want to appear in person if you have proofs so that you can show it to the city attorney and get this resolved. Otherwise, we'll see you via Zoom on the 18th. Bond in each of these matters is set at 100 personal recognizance.
Yes, ma'am. I'm gonna take care of both 18.
Very good. You're all set.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Your Honor, so that you know, Marissa Hagen is in the courtroom now.
Thank you.
And I also just wanted to note.
Nicole? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I just wanted to note for the court that I attempted a intake with Miss Hagen. However, I think just due to general demeanor and her mental health issues, which I believe are mental health issues that I personally observed, I was unable to successfully complete an intake or discern, whether she would like us to continue representing her on this file.
Okay. Okay, well, I'm not on the record for her right now, so you can place those things on the record when I call her case. She is already represented by your office. At least that's what our records reflect. And she allegedly picked up a bond violation, but I'm going to actually do Spitzley first. You are Nicole Spitzley?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. This is file number 17-05275. Okay, and Spitzley, this is a collection file because you owe, looks like $588 to the court. I think you were supposed to meet with collections. You were referred to collections back on August 8th, 2022. But it doesn't look like you made any efforts towards that. Are you employed, ma'am?
Yes, I am now, but I'm not getting paid yet. I'm getting recertified for home health care for my mom and another guy.
Okay, okay, home health care. And when will you start working?
I've been working. I'm just waiting for them to recertify me so I can get paid.
How long do you think that will take?
Maybe a couple weeks.
Okay, because it looks like you started off with a balance of $325. There was a $65 late fee assessed in 2018. It looks like $100 collection fee that was assessed in 2018, 2019. It looks like there was a $98 late fee assessed, which is why it's gotten so high. So it's not really advantageous for you to not be making payments, because as you can see, there's fees being added on here. Do you understand that, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
What is these fees for in the first place? Let's see here. So it looks like this is, let's see. You were before Judge Clark previously. He sentenced you, in 2018, you were supposed to pay $125 within 30 days from release from Ingham County Jail, is what the note said. Do you recall that?
No, I do not.
You guys thought I was kidding the entire time, but it's not about the time.
Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. And this is only if you're going to be compliant moving forward. You owe $325 as the starting balance, but it's now almost doubled. It's $588. How much can you pay within the next 30 days?
Possibly at least 50 to 100. Or maybe more, depending on if I get paid to the state.
Okay, I'll note here that you're gonna pay $50 to the court within the next 30 days, and you'll pay a payment of no less than $50 per month each month thereafter until you get to $325, okay? If you are compliant with this order, I'll waive the balance.
Okay, thank you.
Do you have any questions about how you make payments?
Yes, I do. Do I come up here and make it, or how do I do
You can
that?
come up and make it, at the criminal traffic counter. You can come and make payments, cash, check, or money order, or you can mail cash, check, or money order to the court, but you would need to put this case number on it, the 17-05275. Or you can make payment online at the court website using that case number, okay?
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, you're all set.
Thank you.
Okay, this is the people of the state of Michigan versus Marissa Hagen, 24-01555 SM. Ms. Hagen is president and counsel. You wanted to make a record.
Hi,
Yes,
how are you doing this morning?
Yes, Your
Good,
Honor.
how are you?
So, I
How
just.
are you all doing this morning?
It's this afternoon, but we're doing well. Thank you.
For me, I don't have a clock to my nearest disclosure, so I'm a little, behind with the time. I
No problem.
apologize.
No problem. Counsel?
All right, thank you, Your Honor. Just wanted to make a record that earlier today I attempted intake interview to gather information that could potentially assist in a bond argument, as well as contact information. And I believe that just due to what I perceive to be some mental health complications, that I was unable to.
Thank you, sir. You've done a wonderful job.
Ma'am, don't interrupt. Be quiet.
That I was unable to, ascertain any of this information to assist, in the bond argument or obtaining any information regarding this case.
Impossible. I filed a police report and I reported to probation.
Ma'am, you need to be quiet because anything you say on this record can be used against you. You weren't able to meet with the attorney. I need to arraign you on a bond violation. Do you understand that? Did she not appear for her for her trial? Is that why this is reset?
I believe
Man, what happened was attacked at knife point, mace, and robbed
I'm
of
gonna
my.
mute the jail.
Yes, I believe a bench warrant was issued by Judge Buchanan, if I remember.
Okay, I do see that there was a bench warrant on the 3rd of July. So what was it for? Okay, because it looked like she was supposed to be in court July 8th for a final pretrial, but I don't see whether she appeared or not for that. And there was already a bench warrant issued by then. It looks like
they removed that because she was in.
Okay. Defendant failed to abide by terms of GPS agreement to device not charged as directed. So, okay. So she has a bond violation, or at least her bond, a warrant was issued back in July for failure to comply with the GPS tether by Judge Buchanan. And now I have here a report from the Lansing Police Department from September 22nd about an alleged bond violation. That she was not to be within 2,000 feet of individual last name Mears, Mitzi Mears residence per the bond PA 53 or conditional release order signed by Judge Flores back on May 27th, 2024, that allegedly on September 22nd, she was located at the address of 5121 Wexford Road, which is the address of Mitzi Mears. With that, she has the right to be represented by counsel, and she is represented, I believe, by the Office of the Public Defender in the underlying matter. She does have the right to have a contested hearing on the bond violations if the people are able to establish beyond a reasonable doubt that she did violate her bond. Her bond can be revoked, and she can be in jail pending the underlying matter, but she also can be sentenced for contempt of court for violating the bond. That's a maximum penalty, 93 days in jail and or $500 in fines. She is in the Ingham County Jail. I had to mute the Ingham County Jail just to proceed with this hearing because she is rambling and running her mouth without a relent at this point. The statements made by youth counsel plus her behavior would cause the court to believe that she needs to undergo a CATS evaluation. So she will be remanded to the custody of the Ingham County Jail to undergo a psychological evaluation. Her next court date before Judge Buchanan is going to be November 25th at 8:15. Any additional matters for the record?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay, you're all set. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Hope you have a great day.